everyone, and welcome to episode 58 of the Knitty Heather podcast. My name is Heather, and I'm coming to you from Kent, Washington, up here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. This is my podcast where I talk all about my knitting, everything I am working on and have finished in the past couple weeks. I also love to talk about all the amazing yarn dyers, pattern designers, and makers of all the beautiful accessories I am lucky to be able to use as well. I love to feature all the wonderful makers who add to the beauty of our fiber community. If you are a new viewer, welcome. I'm so happy you found me and I really hope you enjoy yourself. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I truly do appreciate it. If you would like to follow me, I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram and I would love to connect with you there. All of the yarn and patterns and accessories I talk about will be listed and linked in the description box below. Today is Sunday, March 26th, 2023, and I have a lot to show you, especially a lot of finished objects. So let's get going. Today I am wearing actually my first finished object. This is my flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. I have finished it since last time we talked and I am so pleased with how it turned out. I will stand up so you can see it a little bit. I'm very happy with how it fits. As you can see, there's a garter detail down each sleeve. And it's just a basic top-down raglan type sweater. If you have never knit a sweater before, the Flax by Tin Can Knits would really be a great place to start. I did the worsted version. The yarn I used was Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the colorway Noble Heather. And it's just this beautiful kind of foresty green color. I absolutely love it. This is the non-superwash version. But I think next time I might try doing a sweater with superwash. This would also be a great sweater to do just plain stockinette without the detail on the sleeves. The numbers and the stitch count and just kind of the general construction is really good for just a plain stockinette top-down raglan style sweater as well. I think I might be tempted in the future to do just a plain stockinette version using the same pattern and stitch count, just omitting the garter ridge down the sleeve, just to be a little bit different. I did do a split hem. I did the back about 4 rows longer than I did the front, just so it would be a little bit longer in the back. And really, I don't think I would change much at all if I were to knit this again. The one thing I did make a little bit of a mistake on that I had kind of forgotten about, I did the first sleeve I bound off in pattern, and so it's a little bit tighter. And then I kind of had forgotten that I did that. I'm so used to doing my simple stretchy bind off on socks that is actually what I ended up doing on the second sleeve. So this second sleeve is a little bit looser, a little bit stretchier. You can't tell and it really doesn't bother me, but that is one thing that I should have made better notes that I bound off in pattern, and that makes the sleeve plenty stretchy enough. I'm perfectly happy with how that turned out. So I did not need to do my simple stretchy bind off on the second sleeve, but I did. And it's okay. It works just fine. I have blocked this. I soaked it in a basin with just some cold water and laid it flat to dry. And I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I'm hoping that we'll have maybe 1 or 2 more chillier days that I can wear this before I pack it up for next fall. This is the Flax Sweater by Tin Can Knits. Knit up in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the colorway Noble Heather. Next, I'd like to tell you about a fun acquisition. I have a good friend named Monica who sent me some yarn from her local yarn store in Aberdeen, Washington on the coast. She got this colorway and thought that it would be really, really pretty for me to make something out of, and I still haven't decided what I want to make yet. But it is a gorgeous color and I was very thankful to be gifted this yarn from her. It is from Weird Sisters Wool Emporium and this colorway is called Unicorn Poop. And you know, I guess that's probably a pretty good color name. Lots of pretty pastels. This would be really perfect for a baby garment. This is a DK weight, and I think I have about 3 skeins worth, maybe 2.5 to 3 skeins worth in here. So I think I could maybe make a little sweater or a couple baby hats, or even just some fun springy DK weight socks for somebody. So let me know what you would make with this colorway. I think this will make something really, really special. I'm just trying to decide what exactly I should do with this very soft, beautiful DK yarn. Check out Weird Sisters Yarn Emporium. And thank you very much, Monica, for sending me this. I'm going to really enjoy it, and I can't wait to come up with something beautiful to make with this. Next, I would like to showcase a brand new pattern that I was lucky enough to be able to test knit that was just released last week. It is called the Finding Grace Shawl by Grace May Designs, and I believe it's available on Ravelry. And I believe she teamed up with Kimber of Kimber's Cozy Creations to do some kits for this shawl if you are interested in that. I was able to test knit this, and here is what it looks like. This is blocked and kind of laid out to the length that I wanted. Grace did such a beautiful job designing this. It originally ended with this last blue section, but then she decided to add this gorgeous lace edge, and I think that was such a smart design choice. It kind of fans out this direction on that side, and then the opposite direction on the other side of the triangle. This is a beautiful, very wearable triangle shawl, and I love how it turned out. The yarn I used was Leading Men Fiber Arts for this blue main color in their Soliloquy base. I think the colorway was called Blue Ink. Then this cream color is from Hazel Knits on her Blueprint 80/20 base in the colorway Husk. And then this kind of burnt orangey color is called Henna, also from Hazel Knits on her Blueprint base. And as you can see, there's just some really beautiful textures, and each color plays with each other very, very nicely. I thought it was such a fun knit, and it's a great option for a 3-color shawl. I would recommend 3 solid or tonal colors. I don't know that you would get as much of the definition in all the different stitch patterns and textures if you used variegated or speckled yarns, but I love how it turned out with these beautiful solids. Thank you so much, Grace, for letting me test this beautiful shawl. Congratulations on a wonderful new design, and check out the Finding Grace Shawl by Grace May Designs, now available on Ravelry. Now on to the rest of my finished objects. I was able to finish a couple more things since last time we talked. The first is my pair of Desert Vista Dyework socks for March. Here they are. The pattern I did was the Groovy Socks by Carolyn Hegwer. A wonderful choice for a self-striping yarn. And then this is Desert Vista Dyeworks, her 2022 exclusive colorway called Coyote Wearing Socks. All these beautiful colors. I did not quite make these match. As you can see, there's a little green on that toe, and this one started with the yellow. I just kind of started on one end of the yarn and kept going when I finished the first sock. I did these toe up with my wedge-shaped toe. I did about 50 rounds up the foot, and then another 45 rounds up the leg. I did do 13 rounds of a 2x2 rib for the cuff, and then I went back and did an afterthought heel on both of these socks, which those look quite different as well. This was a really addicting, very quick 2-row repeat pattern that really does kind of fly off the needles. I really enjoyed doing this. This is a great choice for self-straping yarn. This is an interesting tweedy base, something kind of special. The makeup of this tweedy base is 84% superwash merino and then 16% the cotton and acrylic neps that give it that tweedy look. I really cannot wait to start wearing these. I still need to post these in the Ravelry group to get credit for my March socks. These are the Groovy Socks by Caron One, knit up in Desert Vista Dye Works Coyote wearing socks on her Tweedy base. My last pair of socks I have to show you are my Tarts and Vickers socks. This colorway is by Mustache Yarn, another wonderful self-striping yarn dyer. I cast these on at the beginning of February and really enjoyed knitting these up. These are kind of matching because she sends these in perfect match sets, and so they're already broken into matching 50-gram half skeins. So I just needed to make sure and start with the same color, and they did really match up pretty nicely. I did these toe up as well. I started with a wedge toe, did about 50 rounds up the foot, 50 rounds up the leg. I think on this I did, I probably did 12 or 13 rounds of 2x2 rib as well for the cuff. And then I went back and did the afterthought heel on these. I really love an afterthought heel for self-striping yarn. It makes it look really, really good. But otherwise, this was just plain vanilla. And they're so bright. I love these colors. Part of her Valentine's collection. And then I did a simple stretchy bind off at the cuff, which I usually do for my toe up socks. I can't wait to start wearing these. They're sort of Valentine's-y, but I think I'll still wear them at least once before next February. I knit these 2 at a time, magic loop on a 40-inch circular needle. And they're just a very, very happy color. And I think they look really, really good. I'm pleased with how these turned out. This is a plain vanilla sock, knit 2 at a time, toe up, in the colorway Tarts and Vickers by Mustache Yarn. My last finished objects are a couple hats. First, I was able to finish my Musselburgh. This is a pattern by Isolde Teague. And the colorway I used was called Born to Stand Out by Hypnotic Yarn. It was from her June 2022 Yarnable box, I believe. And I love how all of these speckles spread out so nicely. This is a very fun pattern. It is actually double thick, super warm, super wearable. I am going to keep this for myself. I do like how it looks. It's a lot of fun to knit. It's very relaxing, a lot of plain stockinette. And it's just a really comfortable, really fun hat to wear. It's an interesting construction if you're not familiar with this pattern. You start at one end with very few stitches, increase, and then knit for a long time in stockinette, and then you do a decrease so that you can end up putting one end into the other to make it double thick, and then you kind of have to just play around with it a little bit to get it to fit back into itself. This is a perfect one skein project with fingering weight yarn. I used quite a bit of the skein. I had very little left over, but as you can see, I didn't really make it where it can fold up. I would need to maybe add about 15 or 20 more rounds if I wanted a brim. But I'm really happy with how it looks. I think it's a lot of fun to knit. If you haven't tried this pattern, I would highly recommend it. It's a little tricky to get started with so few stitches, but once you get past the first few rounds, it really kind of flies. I really love this hat, and I'm hoping to be able to wear it for many years in the future. I did the adult medium on size 3 needles, and that worked out really, really nicely for me. This is the second time I've done this hat, and it won't be the last. I will probably cast another one on fairly shortly. We will have to see. This is the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague, knit up in Born to Stand Out by Hypnotic Yarn from her June 2022 Yarnable box. My last finished object is a baby toddler hat that I just finished for my niece's first birthday, which is coming up very shortly. Here it is. I did the Basic Rib Baby Hat by Heather Tucker. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's just miles and miles of 2x2 rib. And then you can knit it long enough to have a fold over brim. I think that looks really cute. The yarn I used was Caron 1 Pound, which is highly available at a lot of craft stores. And it's a green, kind of a sagey green color. I don't think I still had the label, so I'm not sure the exact color, but this kind of sagey green color. I ordered a pack of some little faux fur pom-poms and chose this kind of creamy color one to go on top. This is the kind that snap off. So I sewed the bottom of the snap to the top. And so when they need to wash it, they can do that without messing up the beautiful pom-pom. I think she will hopefully be able to wear this for a little bit. I did the toddler size and she's just about to turn 1. And this is such a stretchy pattern that hopefully she'll be able to wear it the rest of this spring and even next fall and winter as well. She loves going outside and checking out her property. She goes in their little front pack and just watches as they walk around doing chores on their property, and she loves going on stroller walks. So I hope that this hat will come in really good use. This is the Basic Ribbed Baby Hat by Heather Tucker, knit up in Caron 1 Pound. Now on to my works in progress. If you can believe it, I actually do not have any socks on the needles right now. So I don't have any sock whips at all. I will probably cast some on pretty soon here, and I definitely at least will need to cast on my April Desert Vista Dye Works on April 1st. But I don't have any socks on the needles to show any progress on. All of my socks I had in the needles, I finished. But I do have a hat. This is a hat I am knitting for my mom. So far, I've basically only done the 2x2 rib for the brim. My little hat chat progress keeper is from the 2019 holiday box from the Grocery Girls. Super cute. I'm using my Knit Picks Caspian 16-inch circulars. And the yarn I'm using is from Yarnable by Hypnotic Yarn. This colorway is called Laugh S'more and Worry Less, kind of inspired by toasty marshmallow colors of s'mores. And I think it's knitting up really, really beautifully in this hat. The pattern I'm following is called the Easy Worsted Hat. Even though this is on her plush DK base, I'm using a worsted hat pattern. It's just a little bit looser, which will be fine. It's the Easy Worsted Hat pattern by Hannah Ingalls of the Fiber Gallery here in Seattle. And it's just a basic beanie pattern. I am finished with the 2x2 rib, and now I'll just go straight stockinette around and around until I get to the crown decreases for the top of the hat. I have it in my little Cats in Hat bag by Maker's Mercantile. Kind of a cute bag, perfect for hats. And so I'm excited to keep working on this for my mom. I think she'll really enjoy it. This is the Basic Worsted Hat by Hannah Ingalls of the Fiber Gallery. Next, I'd like to show you my Winter Skies cowl. This is part of an advent that I purchased last December, and it was a collaboration between Jamie Lomax, who is Pacific Knit Co., and West Coast Yarn Co. Jamie Lomax is very popular for colorwork designs, especially her Doodle designs that have different little motifs that you can mix and match and make all kinds of different hats and cowls of different styles and stockings and all kinds of fun things she has available. But this pattern came in the advent that they collaborated on, and I haven't showed it in a while, so I thought I'd show you a little bit of progress I've made. Last time I was right here on this little section with the snowflakes after this big snowflake section. And so I've done a few more charts. The last chart I finished was this cute little coffee mug chart with the heart on it. All of this yarn was from West Coast Yarn Co. on their DK base, which is really, really soft, really beautiful. And as you can see, I've kind of been just trying to mix and match and do different color combinations, different size motif combinations, just to make it look interesting. I am doing a loop style cowl, so it will eventually go around like this. I did a provisional cast on, and I actually already put the cast on some other needles with needle stoppers. So now I just need to put the needle tips when it comes time to Kitchener it together into a big loop. I think I've got quite a bit more. I originally planned for a few more motifs, but I think I can probably even squeeze in more than I had originally planned. She gave you the yarn and all of these different charts to follow that you can mix and match. And so it was really up to you where you wanted to place each chart and what colors you wanted to use with the chart. The yarn in this advent came with 2 full skeins and then 6 mini skeins. And so this last motif I did with what I have left of this main skein. This was one of the main skeins called Cowl. And then the contrast was this lighter twine color they called. This was one of the minis. And I do still have quite a bit of each color left. So I don't know, it'll be a little bit of trial and error just to see what else I can come up with. I definitely want to finish the charts that I had planned out, but I might include a few more. We'll see how long it ends up and how much yarn I end up using. But this was so much fun. I really, really love doing color work. This is such great practice for color work because the repeats aren't super long and they do repeat. It's not totally random. And it's just been a lot of fun to work on. This is the Winter Skies Cowl by Jamie Lomax, knit up in DK yarn by West Coast Yarn Co. My last couple projects to show you are also Advent-based projects. I have my Fizzlicious wrap that I've made a little bit more progress on. Here it is. Last time I was just finishing up this fizzy flowery stripe, and I've added a couple more garter stripes. This is a pattern by Amba O'Brien, and I am using the 2022 Vista Fade Advent by Hugh Loco. I'm using size 4 Chowgu red lace needles. I'm weaving my ends in as I go, which that's going to be really nice just to snip those when I'm finished and I won't have to worry about weaving in at ends. This Red Velvet Cake Progress Keeper is from Simply Serving on Etsy. This is a really fun on the bias design. I maintain the same stitch count all the way through, and it goes back and forth between these garter sections and then these special flowery fizz sections that I use with a main color. So the main color I'm using is Nerd String in the colorway Labyrinth on their fingering weight 75-25 base. Kind of just a nice neutral. And then the color I'm currently working on from Hugh Loco, the mini, is this beautiful kind of peachy color. Very earthy. Very beautiful. Definitely all of these colors do fade. Nicole of Hugh Loco is wonderful with fades. And I'm excited to see the rest of these colors come out. I finished 8 colors, and then this pretty peachy color is the 9th color. So I'm about a third of the way through. This was a 24-day advent, and I do plan on adding all 24 colors for this beautiful Fizzlicious wrap. I have it in my Simpsons project bag, large drawstring project bag from Fate's Thread. And I am enjoying working on this. I have a couple friends in the Love and Stitches membership that have finished this already, or at least they're a lot further than I am, and they look so beautiful. So it really kind of motivated me to pick this back up and do a little more work on this. This is the Fizzlicious wrap by Amba O'Brien, knit up in the 2022 Vista Fade Advent by Hugh Loco. My last work in progress I have to show you is actually a very similar Advent wrap. This is called the Lamina Wrap by Amba O'Brien. As you can see, very similar construction. It is on the bias, creating this sort of parallelogram shape. But in this one, you do a beautiful lace section with all the different minis. And then the main color is garter. You do these little garter ridges between each of these lace panels with a main color. The yarn I am using for this wrap is all Hypnotic yarn. The main color is this Shenanigans colorway. This was from the March 2022 Yarnable box. And then I'm using the leftovers I have from her 2020 Christmas Advent for all the different lace panels, for all the different colors. This is the next color that I will be adding in, this kind of aqua color. And then I did just finish with this really bright bubblegum pink color. I have it in this cute butterfly rainbow large project bag by Southern, sewn by Sharon on Etsy. Such a bright, beautiful, springy bag to use. I really love the look of this with solid colors and then just this very, very, very lightly speckled main color. These are all on her same 85-15 plush sock base, and I just knew they had to go together to make this beautiful wrap. It's going to be so colorful, and it will be able to be worn with any kind of neutral top. I think it's going to be really, really pretty. I am also weaving in the ends as I go. So again, I'll just need to snip these ends after I block, and that will be ready to go. This rainbow cake marker is from Simply Serving on Etsy, and I am also using size 4 Chowgu red lace. This is a little bit of a longer cord. I think these are 47 inches, but it works. I'm really enjoying this pattern. I highly suggest it. The lace is not too terribly difficult, and then you do get kind of a relaxing break with the garter in between. This is the Lamina Wrap by Amba O'Brien, knit up in Shenanigans, and the 2020 Christmas Advent by Hypnotic Yarn. Well, I think that's about all I have for you this episode. Thank you so much for joining me and spending a little bit of time with me. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to give this video a like and consider subscribing. That would really mean a lot to me. I really appreciate everyone willing to listen to me gab about everything I have on the needles. As always, please let me know if you have any questions or feedback about the podcast. You are more than welcome to leave a comment below or message me on Instagram. I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram, and I would absolutely love to hear from you. But until next time, be well, be kind, and happy knitting. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.